James Charles uploaded a response video to all the drama, and the internet doesn't know who to believe. Welcome to part 3 of this 4-part series on the Tati and James Charles situation. Please do not send any hate to anyone mentioned in this series. These videos are simply meant to report on the news and give insight on the situation. Also, because this is part 3 of a 4-part series, please wait until you see the full series before forming your opinion on what went down. Now let's get into the story. On May 18th, James uploaded a second video on the situation titled No More Lies. He started by saying that he stood by his initial Tati video and everything he said in it. He said he wanted to thank Tati and Jeffree for trying to get fans to stop the hate.
First and foremost, I do want to issue a thank you to both Jeffree and Tati for taking some of the responsibility for blowing this whole thing up and for starting everything. I really respect that a lot, and I also appreciate the fact that they are trying to redirect the hate away, because I think we're all aware at this point that it has gotten way too far.
James said he's been in a really dark place since the whole thing started.
It's also been the darkest time that I've ever had to go through in my life, and my thoughts got to a really scary place. Watching Tati's video, it's clear to me that she also is in a really dark place as well and has been pained by this whole situation. If I've known anything about Tati over the past 3 years, it's that she has a huge heart. There's no denying that, and I do believe her when she says that she did not want this to get so vile.
He also said he knows Tati and Jeffree both said they want James to be able to grow and move on, and he agrees with them.
But in Tati's second video and in Jeffree's Snapchats, they both said that they stand behind everything that they mentioned, and unfortunately, there have been allegations made against me because of these things, and I don't really feel comfortable just moving on from those.
James said he wanted to use the video to clear up all the allegations that were made and provide context that had been missing. According to James, he and his friends went to weekend 1 of Coachella, and he had an artist pass provided by SeatGeek. After the Gage situation, he and his friends decided to go to Coachella weekend 2 to relive the memories of weekend 1 without Gage. On April 19th, James texted his manager asking if SeatGeek could get him and his friends into the festival the next day in exchange for an Instagram story. Because it was last minute, James said they were only able to get VIP tickets, not artist passes. According to James, regular consumers can't buy artist passes. You can only get them if you're sponsored by a brand who gets them through Coachella, or if you personally know the artist performing. The general public can purchase VIP passes for $999. James said when he and his friends got to Coachella on weekend 2, there was a major difference in the crowd.
We were in the VIP section and I started getting mobbed really quickly at a super unsafe capacity because, as many of you guys know, whenever we stop to take a photo, kind of other people tend to come and it just turned into a big situation, and it honestly was not safe.
He said he had remembered from weekend 1 that Nikita was there with Sugar Bear hair, and she had an artist pass, personal security, and backstage passes. He reached out to her, showing the same text conversation screenshot Nikita did, but from his perspective. Sugar Bear hair and James reached an agreement, and they gave James artist passes, personal security, and backstage passes. To show the deal with Sugar Bear hair, James showed a screenshot from someone named Christine. In the screenshot, Christine sent James a screenshot that appeared to be from a Sugar Bear hair representative outlining what they wanted. The Sugar Bear hair person wrote, "He knows his audience. Just have him tell the exact story on stories and then talk about the hair and sleep vitamins with a swipe up. Sugar Bear came to my rescue in Coachella. They have amazing, delicious vegetarian hair vitamins, and they just launched these amazing vegan sleep vitamins. Then the swipe up. Prob have him due on Monday. Is that okay?" Christine wrote to James, "This cool with you? I'm coming to rescue you soon." James said, "Ooh, yes. Do they want me to post now or on Monday?" Christine replied, "Monday, so you can actually enjoy yourself." James played a clip from Tati's Buy Sister video where she said she didn't buy a story, and he said the sponsorship wasn't a scheme.
It really did happen on the spot. The Sugar Bear hair team texted me the proposal right away. No money was involved, and with no time to negotiate, in a panic, I signed, and that was that on that.
James clarified the timeline, saying he posted the story 1 day after he made the deal with Sugar Bear hair, not 9 like people had assumed based on the way he worded the initial Instagram story ad. He said that up until he was about to post the story, he had not thought about how Sugar Bear hair was a direct competitor to Halo Beauty, and decided to let Tati know as a courtesy to her. He said he did text Tati before posting the story and showed screenshots from his conversation with her. James wrote, "Mom, I wanted to text you and tell you that I have to post a Sugar Bear hair story today. They saved me at Coachella from getting literally mobbed and got me backstage passes. They have new sleep vitamins, so I'm putting emphasis on those rather than the hair ones. I miss you so much and have been having the absolute worst anxiety ever, and I need a mom-son day soon." Tati replied, "This honestly breaks my heart." James said, "I was getting mobbed at Coachella because the company that sent me only gave us VIP, and Sugar Bear Hair literally came and gave me an artist backstage pass and security guard. I don't plan on working with them again, and I've told you before that I don't want to work with them and would never promote other vitamins besides Halo. It was literally my only option, and I texted you before to let you know, instead of just posting and catch you off guard too." Tati wrote, "If you support my #1 competitor after all the support I've given you, I look like a fool. I'm just really hurt. This isn't makeup where people buy multiples of vitamins in each category. This will harm my business. If you need a sponsorship, I'll give you that. But to trade VIP tickets to Coachella for a post that's gonna hurt me so deeply is so disappointing." James replied, "Tati, it's not like I reached out to them beforehand and asked for a brand deal. I didn't want to do anything with them, and I told you that from the beginning. I understand why you're upset, but you've seen the crowds that I pull, and we didn't expect it in the VIP area. But their team literally pulled me out and backstage and gave us the pass and said, here's an artist band and security. Just do one story for us and you're good. It was either take the pass or leave the festival because I was unsafe. I don't want a sponsorship from you or from anyone. You have my support for free forever, and you know that. I only talked about the sleep vitamins. But I know it's not about that for you. I'm sorry again. I recognize the support that you've given me and would never want to take advantage of that. It was truly an emergency situation. I've had the worst past few weeks of my entire life, and you're not even going to want to hear it because it has to do with a boy taking advantage of me. But I did want to let you know that I'm looking into therapy and other ways to get my feelings out and figure out how to deal with these things, because my thoughts have been dangerous recently. I'm not proud and I'm not in a good place, but I can't thank you enough for the advice you've given me, and the last thing I want is to fight with the one person I truly know has my best intentions in mind." James had to post the story to fulfill his contractual obligations and then flew to San Francisco. When he landed, he saw Tati's Instagram story and said he started getting messages on social media from people asking him about the situation. He then showed screenshots of him texting Tati, asking her to call him. James wrote, "Can you please give me a call when you're not busy? I'm now getting threats from fans right now for betraying you and calling me a snake. I'd really appreciate if you could call me so we could talk and I can make things right with you." And Shane and Jeffree are tweeting too. "This is crazy. You've been the one person who's always given me advice and told me to keep things offline. I understand why you're angry, but I'm trying to talk to you about it and be honest with you, and I'm getting thousands of tweets." James said he posted a public apology to Tati because he wasn't able to reach her and wanted to take responsibility for his actions. He showed screenshots of him trying to get in touch with Tati through her husband and through a group text he set up with the three of them. In a text conversation, James wrote to Tati's husband, "Hello, can I please speak to you?" James Westbrook replied, "Not a good time, James. If there's something you really need to say, you can text and I'll respond later." James Charles said, "I just really want the opportunity to speak to you and Tati in private about all this. It's blown far out of proportion, and I don't want to lose a relationship with the two of you. You both mean the world to me and have taught me so much, and I value that more than anything. I'm still sorry for hurting Tati, but I also feel like cutting off an entire friendship, both privately and publicly, and not even talking about it isn't fair to either one of us. I respect both of your privacy, and I'm sure Tati still wants time. I would like the opportunity to at least talk at some point, and thank you for replying." After a week of trying to get in touch with Tati and her husband, James decided to leave them alone and let Tati come to him when she was ready. James then addressed Tati's claim that he didn't want to endorse Halo because it would be inappropriate for his young audience.
Now, this time was just confusing to me, mostly because this conversation never actually happened. If you guys know my channel, you would know that I don't really do dedicated product reviews ever, which is what Tati is known for. But even though that is the case, I've still multiple times talked about her products on all my social media networks.
He showed clips of himself talking about Halo in videos and on his Snapchat story. After, he talked about Tati's comments about his mother.
One of the most hurtful things Tati did in her video was bring up my mom and question her parenting. No tears this time. My mom is the strongest woman I have ever met. She is kind, she is creative, and she is caring. She is a cancer survivor, and she balances a marriage, a full-time job, and raising 2 boys with absolutely crazy lives. She's taught me so much in the past, and when I've made a mistake, she has never turned to public humiliation as a form of punishment. All that being said, I love my mom, and I think she's doing a damn good job, if I do say so myself.
James then brought up his romantic life, saying he's never been intimate with anyone.
I talk about boys quite a lot on my social media networks. Clearly at this point, it is not acceptable anymore. I don't really get a lot of action. That being said, I have never, and would never, and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any actions from a guy. That is disgusting. It is not me. And the fact that Tati brought this up blows my mind because she knows the real story.
He confirmed the story was about the waiter from the Seattle restaurant and said he would tell the full story since
everybody seems to be leaving out literally every single detail.
He recapped Tati's I'm a Celebrity story and said,
this literally did not happen. What did happen is that there was a cute boy across the restaurant that I kept making eye contact with and that I was interested in. And the conversation of dating for me and Jeffree both came up at the dinner table and we were talking about it for a very, very short period of time. The conversation never got inappropriate.
As for the I'm a Celebrity comment itself, James said,
this is an inside joke between my friends and I that Tati is also participated in, and she twisted this to be something far worse than what it is. This is the joke that really is where we say I'm famous, not I'm a celebrity, and it's something that we don't say in public very often because without context, I get it, it looks and sounds really, really bad, trust me. Literally, famous is synonymous with anything good. It has nothing to do with fame, power, or money, which is what Tati alluded it to being.
James then showed the Instagram DMs he exchanged with Sam, some of which match up with what Sam showed in his video. However, James shared other messages where they discussed Sam's sexuality. James wrote, "Are you straight, I'm assuming?" Sam said, "I'm bi." James replied, "Really?" Sam wrote, "Yeah, I mean, I never have had any experience with a guy, but I do find men attractive." James said, "That was unexpected. Okay, love that." Sam replied, "Me too. Unexpected?" James wrote, "Yes, LOL, you just struck me as a very, very straight boy." Sam said, "I thought I was straight for a while. You definitely shocked me when you walked in." James replied, "You should have said something after you saw us talking about you all night." Sam wrote, "I wasn't allowed to. My supervisor was on me about being professional, and we were so busy. I wasn't even allowed to drop my phone number." James asked, "Did you try?" Sam said, "It's one of the rules like I had to sign when I got hired. Like because it's such a fancy restaurant, they don't allow a lot of interactions between busboys and customers. I would have loved to." James said,
"There was no straight men being manipulated anywhere in the story like Tati mentioned."
James said Sam told him he wished they had time to hang out, and James invited Sam to his hotel room to watch a movie. He showed screenshots of the conversation between them. Sam wrote, "I would love to hang out, talk, and watch a movie. I'm just letting you know I've never done stuff with a guy before, so I'd like to talk and get to know you first." James replied, "Yeah, that's fine. Same." Sam said, "I'm nervous." James wrote, "Ha ha ha, for what? You have absolutely nothing to worry about because 1, you don't have to do anything, and 2, you know I'm not going to post anything because I literally can't. You're A-okay." Sam replied, "Aw, thank you. You're right." James said Sam told him he wanted to sleep in his own bed and think about everything that happened because it was a lot for Sam to process.
I definitely understood and did not blame him.
Sam texted him afterwards thanking him for everything. James said this was evidence that everything that happened was consensual.
Point being, everything that happened in the hotel room was 100% consensual, and this is confirmed by the only 2 parties that were actually there, being myself and Sam.
After their night in Seattle, James said he and Sam continued talking, and he said he noticed Sam's feelings towards him and his sexuality started wavering.
I came to the conclusion that he needed to figure himself out and that I needed to move on because I kept getting hurt.
Later, Sam texted James from his friend's number saying he was gay, and James showed the screenshots. Sam wrote, "Hey, it's Sam. You were right. I am gay. I was closeted because of my friends knowing. I wanted to talk. It's not the right time. I get it. But I still want to talk to you. Say no if it's a no. But I thought I'd let you know now that you were right." James replied, "Whose number is this?" Sam said, "Not mine. I have to delete message, so can you please text me? I'm blocked." James wrote, "I'm really happy for you that you've come to terms with your sexuality. That isn't easy, and I'm proud. After everything that happened between us, right now I have a lot of things going on in my life that I need to work on fixing, and I don't have the time or energy to try to make something work. I don't want to get hurt anymore. Sam replied, "That's understandable. This isn't my phone, so can you unblock me off IG or text so in the future when things get better and you feel ready, maybe we can talk?" James said, "Sure. Your number was never blocked and your Instagram is unblocked. It's not about me being ready, it's about you not being ready." James said Sam wanted to talk about something important. They called, and Sam instead asked if James was talking to another guy at the same time he was talking to Sam.
I was a little bit confused as to why I was being asked this, but I did answer him honestly, and then I asked him what made him come to a conclusion with everything. To which he said, "I'm actually not fully gay." After dealing with this a million times, I was frustrated, and I hung up.
He said Sam texted him after the call and said he was basically confirmed bi.
This is why, in Sam's video, he included a screenshot of me telling him I did not think he was fully straight. This comment had a lot of people really upset and confused as to why I was telling somebody their sexuality, but there's a very simple explanation. Sam and I talked for a very, very long time, and his sexuality, like I said, wavered a lot. Every time that he was a little bit confused, we had open and honest conversations about it, and he always asked me my input, and I gave it to him. I would never out somebody, and I have never, ever tried to manipulate somebody's sexuality, including his, point blank period.
James said he and Sam were hurt and confused throughout the situation, and James asked his friends for advice. He showed a screenshot of a conversation between him and Tati. James wrote, "Sam is flying to LA on Saturday, LOLOL." Tati replied, "What?" James said, "I know. We've been talking every single day since." Tati wrote, "You're supposed to hook up with the waiter, not marry them." James replied, "LOLOL." James talked about the kitchen story and said Tati and her husband did have a heart-to-heart with James about the boys he gets involved with.
They told me that talking to curious guys was going to continue to get me hurt, and that also it could look really, really bad from an outside perspective if somebody tried to manipulate the situation. And for me, this was a major, major wake-up call that I took to heart because I honestly had never thought about it in any other way, because I knew that everything that I was doing was always consensual between both me and the boy, and I had receipts to back it up. But I wish I knew at the time that Tati's advice was really a warning, because she did exactly what she told me someone else may, which was tell my story with no details, no facts, and no proof, and twist it around, and now serious allegations have surfaced that could permanently damage my career.
He also addressed boys and his own sexuality. He said he came out when he was 12, and because he was so young and the majority of the boys at his school were not gay, he wasn't able to experiment with love and dating in the same way his straight classmates were able to.
I think that that's honestly left me kind of underdeveloped as a person in a lot of different ways. I've been forced to grow up very, very quickly because of the job that I work in social media, but love and relationships is something that I have barely any experience in, and I honestly think that that's why I'm a lot less mature than others may be in the situations that I get myself into.
He said that despite his inexperience, he's learning more through each situation.
But I can confidently say that with each experience, I'm learning more and more, and I've been able to better myself. But a lot of times these situations have become public, my own fault, but having millions of people watching you learn can be very, very tricky.
James then started talking about his attraction to straight boys and played a clip from Jeffree's video about his relationship with Nate. In the video, Jeffree talked about being into straight guys and how it's been a problem for him because they love having fun with him and being with him in private so long as others don't know. James said he liked that clip from Jeffree's video because what he said was accurate to his experiences, and he did a good job of explaining a tough concept for people to understand. He also spoke about sliding into people's DMs with a hello or a compliment, and that if they ever said they were not interested or not gay, he apologized for the unwanted attention and ended the conversation.
I do take full responsibility for sending these messages, and this situation has definitely taught me that sending messages that are so forward and direct like this are unacceptable, and I no longer will do that moving forward.
James said he saw some of the screenshots that came out of those conversations, said he felt bad about them, and reached out and apologized to the people involved. Then, he addressed people faking James Charles stories for attention, including a viral story about him and a classmate that was later proven false. He also brought up Zara Larson's tweet about him DMing her boyfriend multiple times.
In her defense, she did later on say that it was only one message, but it was way too late because the media had already ran with it, saying that wouldn't leave him alone. Had I known that he was dating Zara Larson, I clearly never would have messaged him in the first place, but this is all very hypocritical considering this is how Zara Larsson found her boyfriend.
He then asked why it was okay for Zara Larsson, a woman with a public platform, to make a tweet objectifying the man who later became her boyfriend, but it was wrong for James, as a gay man, to privately message the same man with a compliment.
These stereotypes around gay men have been and continue to be very, very harmful to the community and have been historically used to villainize gay men in society.
James also addressed all the screenshots from any boy he'd ever communicated with and the fake stories that have added to the spectacle surrounding the situation.
I'm done being the subject of these bandwagon stories for likes. It's not okay.
Then, he brought up Jeffree Star's involvement in the story. On May 6th, Jeffree tweeted, "Who else has a draft folder full of tweets they wish they could send out? I want to keep it so real sometimes about the behind the scenes in the beauty community, but I'll let karma do its work like it always does." James said he started getting tagged in the comments, and on the day of the Met Gala, he reached out to Jeffree asking what was up. He shared screenshots from that conversation. James wrote, "Why am I getting tagged in your tweet a million times? What's going on? Can we please talk when you get a second? Can you FaceTime me for a sec, please? I won't take long." Jeffree replied, "I can't talk right now, but I'll hit you up later when I'm free. I don't know what's happening with you and other people, but I hope it can all be fixed for the sake of all of us." James said, "Okay, I would really like to talk to you soon. Could use some honest advice and feedback." While James was getting ready for the Met Gala, Jeffree texted him. Jeffree wrote, "We definitely need to talk soon. Tati and Shane and a few others told me everything that you've said about me over the last 6 months. I am heartbroken, disgusted, and so sad to hear about everything, but shockingly not surprised. I have only been a great friend to you and have never said anything bad about you behind the scenes, which is obviously not the case for you." James replied, "Let's definitely talk. I do not talk about you behind your back and have not talked to Shane literally at all in the last 6 months. I appreciate the honesty and don't want to have a problem with you. I respect you a lot, and anything you think I said, I will be totally upfront about and discuss like adults. If you're available, let's get together and talk in private." Jeffree didn't reply. James kept reaching out to Jeffree, and a few days later, Jeffree replied saying he tried to talk later that day. James said, "I would really like to talk to you soon, even if it's for a few minutes. I'm going through a lot right now and not doing well, and you've been one of the few people in this industry I can trust and talk to, and I don't want to lose that. I'd like to fix things if possible, or at least have an honest conversation about it." Jeffree was unable to talk with him. Fast forward to May 10th, when Tati uploaded Bye Sister. James said he was woken up at 4 a.m. and watched the video.
Watching Tati's video, it was very clear to me that my friend was still very hurt. And even though I had already apologized both privately and publicly, I wanted to make a video right then and there with my raw and honest emotions.
Because of the time difference, it took James a few hours to get the video ready. Right before he published it, he got a text from Jeffree. Jeffree wrote, "Are you going to respond to everything or pull a Manny 2.0? When you basically trapped Sam in your hotel room in Seattle and psychologically forced him to stay and made him feel horrible for their pennies you spent on the room, I knew something was terribly wrong with you. When Zach showed me the Snapchat messages of you trying to force him to like you and send him photos, it was completely horrifying to see you use the same sentences as would use. He was so grossed out by your behavior and the way that you tried to make him feel bad for not reciprocating the same feelings." James reiterated that Sam was not trapped in the hotel room and their encounter was 100% consensual. He also said Zach was Jeffree's boyfriend Nate's brother, and he identified as mainly straight. James said he never pursued Zach, and Jeffree was the one who encouraged James to talk to him. He then played a clip from one of their collabs, where Jeffree suggested James contact Zach. According to James, he and Zach sent about 10 selfies back and forth on Snapchat, and although Zach was sweet, it was clear he wasn't interested in James. The conversation never got flirty. James was unable to reply to Jeffree's text. A few days later, James said his brother Ian called him, upset because of Jeffree's quote tweet about James. James said the original tweet was about something else, not James's situation, and he said people called out Jeffree for getting involved with someone who had nothing to do with the drama. According to James, Ian went back to New York temporarily for a few different reasons.
He had to get his wisdom teeth taken out, and he's also working on different modeling opportunities in New York City, and I am so incredibly proud of him. But he was also having a really hard time in LA. Dealing with a public breakup and negativity online sent him into diagnosed clinical depression, which he is now being treated for, and he wanted to be with my parents. Nothing more.
James said he checked his phone and saw Jeffree had texted him a few minutes before quote tweeting Ian. Jeffree wrote, "Grayson is going on camera shortly to finally tell the world how you tried to him and touch him in his sleep. and made him uncomfortable for months, you sick person. Next, Zach will be going on camera to tell how twisted and sick you were, trying to get him to like you and then make him feel bad when he didn't want to send you photos back. Then, Sam from Seattle will be joining me and Cameron to talk about you trapping him in the hotel room. You need to be locked up in prison for a very long time. You need the internet taken away from you. You are a danger to society. James said Jeffree mentioning Grayson was clever.
At the height of all these allegations and stories going around, both of the twins unfollowed me, not wanting to be associated, and fans started speculating that the rumors could be as to why. Too bad that aside from our pre-planned collaborative jokes that happened in the Sister Squad videos, me and Grayson flirting, nothing ever happened between us. And when all this went down, I knew Jeffree was lying because the twins were two of the first people to call me and make sure that I was okay.
Later that day, Sam uploaded his YouTube video, and even though, according to James, he left out a lot of details, he still said the encounter was consensual. Then, James addressed Jeffree's tweet where he said Nate banned him from the Star home.
Now, this so-called ban is the first time I'm ever hearing of this, and I just think it's really funny that Jeffree brought this up, considering the fact that he's tweeted me twice in between February and now saying that he missed me.
Jeffree also texted James's best friend Drew. How do you sleep at night knowing that you enable and support a and a Hopefully you seek help very soon and get away from that monster. When he trapped that boy in his hotel room in Seattle and you didn't care about it, I knew you didn't have a soul either. James said he wasn't surprised about Jeffree's behavior.
Jeffree's messaging about me both in private and in public was hurtful, defamatory, extremely excessive, but most importantly, literally all based on lies. I wish I knew why he was doing all this, but at the same time, his track record with public feuds makes none of this a surprise.
He also said Tati's video could really hurt his career.
Tati made a video telling stories about me and publicly humiliating me, and now I have serious allegations against me that could be detrimental to my career.
While he was making the video, he said several people involved in the situation reached out to him, including Sam, who called him 9 times. Sam also texted James several times. I need to talk to you. Everything will be fixed. I promise you, I will fix it all. Just give me one call. That's all I ask. Just give me 30 seconds. I made a full apology video. James confirmed that both Tati and Jeffree had reached out with him through a mutual YouTube representative for a meeting, but he turned them down.
Throughout the past 3 weeks, literally all I've wanted and all I've asked for was for communication from these people, and I tried really, really hard to get that, and I didn't. So I declined the meetings because I felt like this was started publicly and it was addressed publicly, and I felt like it was only fair for me to address this publicly as well before meeting behind the scenes and talking further.
He wants to meet with them eventually to have closure, and he said he still has love for them despite everything.
But right now I just need time and space to kind of get my head back to where it needs to be and get my mental health back together before I kind of rekindle those friendships, because everything that happened still really hurt.
He talked about how hard the entire situation was on his mental health, and he wouldn't wish it on his worst enemy.
I've always tried to use my platform to spread positivity, but I feel like at this point it's my responsibility to be honest with you guys and tell you that the last few weeks of my life has literally been the most painful time that I've ever had to deal with, and my head and brain for a hot minute went to a place so dark that I didn't think that I was going to come back from.
James said no one could be prepared for what he had to deal with online.
Having to read the hundreds of thousands of tweets and the YouTube videos and the articles about me and my character and my family based on things that were almost all lies, it messed me up. It messed me up is the best way that I can put it. And through all of this, I've learned that if I can get through this, I can get through anything.
And he warned people about the bandwagon effect.
Joining in on bandwagon hate and cancel culture is incredibly toxic, and it's very concerning to me that as a society, we're becoming okay with guilty until proven innocent instead of the other way around. I truly hope that everyone who participated in this, whether it be fans, influencers, drama channels, or credible news sources, take the time to think about your words and the impacts that they may have on others, because I assure you, and I promise you, it's a lot stronger than what you may think.
Moving forward, James said he wanted to make some positive changes in his life. He wanted to spend more time in person with the people he cared about, including his family and friends, and work on getting his mental health to a better place. He also clarified what happened with Sisters Apparel, saying he had to cut ties with Killer Merch.
But unfortunately, I had to sever ties with Killer Merch. I just don't see a world that exists where I could ever be in business with a team ran by someone like Jeffree Star.
He said if anyone had purchased items, they would still be getting them. And if anyone had gift cards, they would still be valid when the site reopened. As for the tour, James said he wanted to go on tour, but didn't know what was happening with it yet. He promised his fans an update on it by the end of that week. James also said he wanted to take a break from making YouTube videos.
On my last few videos, I've definitely noticed quite a lot of comments talking about my ego or my attitude getting the best of me and getting to my head, and I appreciate the constructive criticism and feedback, and after a lot of reflection, I think you're right. I've lost focus, and I want to get back to my original goal when I have no motivation other than just creating original content. And that'll happen for sure, and I already have some great ideas in the works, but it's just going to take a little bit of time.
He ended the video by apologizing and thanking his fans.
I'm sorry if I disappointed you, and I'm really sorry that you had to watch all of this go down. You saw a side of me that I'm really not proud of and that I know I need to work on changing, and trust me, I will be. I recognize the fact that I haven't always been the best role model, and that sucks. I've tried, but I will try way harder. But also to my sisters, thank you. Thank you for the messages and the tweets and the emails and the comments that I've received over the past week, making sure that I was okay. And the same thank you goes out to all the fans that were concerned, but offered constructive criticism in hopes that I'd be better.
And he reclaimed his signature catchphrase.
And in the spirit of turning something negative into a positive, bye, sister.
After publishing the video, James tweeted, "I made my video today not to start a war, but to take responsibility for my actions and clear my name. There are two sides to every story, and now you've heard both. I'm sure more will be said, but I'm moving on. You can form your opinions, but please do not send any hate to anyone. I'm literally begging all of you. The internet has seen enough negativity in the last few weeks. Text your friends and tell them you love them. Give someone a compliment, but don't be too forward. Appreciate what you have and those around you. Love you all." A lot of people thought the video was well done. I don't hate this. This should have been his only video response and not having a crying video or his friends defend him. James definitely hired the Olivia Pope of the LA world. Others were curious about the screenshots he showed and what he didn't talk about. James only addressed the things that he could clear his name on. He left out the NDA thing with Gage, for example. It just means he didn't convince me to resub to him, but he did convince me to unsubscribe from Tati and Jeffree as well. The way he uses the receipts was manipulative. Yes, they're most likely true, but he is telling his side, the side that is trying to save his face and bring down Jeffree and Tati. He selects certain receipts that helps his case when there's definitely receipts out there that show the other side. Okay, but what about the married man, James? You can't say you didn't know because that dude's wife is literally all over his Instagram, as well as the "every man is a little gay" comment you allegedly made. I don't believe you, my dude. Some people felt bad for choosing sides before hearing from both parties. I am honestly so impressed. I was 100% Team Tati with her Bye Sister video, but I feel like I was blinded, not only because she's one of my favorite beauty gurus, but because I wasn't a fan of James's content. I didn't once think during that whole time, why didn't Tati post any receipts? Why didn't Tati reach out to others to collect their receipts before the video to make it as effective as possible? Isn't this all just hearsay? I was led by the drama and the tea of the situation, far too entertained to even question the validity of certain sources. With this video, I see that everyone had a part to play that wasn't good, but the ones that truly came out badly was Tati and Jeffree. Tati for over-exaggerating and leaving out certain truths, and Jeffree for stirring the pot and taking advantage of a terrible situation to try to destroy and hurt somebody. I learned a lesson from all of this. I was persuaded to hate this man that I've idolized for years. I'm disappointed in myself because I let others affect what I thought about James Charles. I forgot that he is the reason why I love makeup. I'm so sorry, James. One person said this video proved Tati was manipulating her audience. All I'm going to say is that I lost hella karma for pointing out that Tati was being manipulative with her white woman tears, backwalking what she said in her first video. So many of us were downvoted to for suggesting that she was out of line, hypocritical, and just in it for the vitamins. Yet here we are. A few people thought Jeffree was playing everyone behind the scenes. I still think that Tati's tears were genuine, especially in her second video, but I also think she was manipulated by Jeffree, and it was definitely about the vitamins. She made it sound like it wasn't because she didn't want to come across as being petty. I think she probably complained to Jeffree about it, and he saw it as an opportunity to take James down. If Jeffree did not get involved, I would probably still be Team Tati, but I can't help but think that Tati must have known Jeffree was planning on texting James. Maybe she didn't know what the contents of the messages would be, but she had to have known he was going to speak to him, and there just seems to be no reason for him to have gotten involved. Anyone else think Jeffree Star was in Tati's ear hyping her up like Littlefinger? And a lot of people believe the truth was somewhere in between everyone's perspectives. I believe Tati and I believe James. They are two different people with their own realities and truths. Something can happen and be perceived entirely differently to each person, and I think there are clear case for that at this point. I genuinely don't believe she thought it would blow up to this level, and in hindsight, should probably regret making those videos. She should have cut ties privately and moved on. After people started commenting, James pinned a comment to his video to address all questions. 1. Yes, this response is planned. I said in the first few minutes of the video that I had an outline of points I needed to hit, and I practiced my speaking too. Not trying to hide anything, just had a lot of things to get into one video. 2. I started taking screenshots of everything when I was in Australia, but I missed a few and had to take a few when I was back in LA. The time zones are 17 hours apart, and I tried to make sure I noted every time there was a change, but it looks like I missed a timestamp note in the combo with Sam. None of these screenshots are edited. Why would I risk editing a screenshot when the other party could come forward and prove me wrong? All screenshots are in chronological order. 3. I blink a lot always. This video is no different. 4. This video is not monetized. In fact, it actually got copyright claimed. Some people are seeing an ad for some reason. I'm sorry, I'm not really sure why. I appreciate the comments, but I don't need #Team James. I want to heal and move on from this situation, and I want everyone else involved to be able to do the same. The internet has seen enough negativity over the past few weeks. Let's all be respectful, please. Tati also responded, I've left town on a digital break to heal and pray for healing on all sides. My family made me aware of what was just posted, and I'm disappointed to see it littered with so many lies and half-truths. I stand by my videos. Do not twist my words into what they are not. Hear the message. I'm working on not reacting out of anger and working through patience for what this right thing to do is. I remind you all, as I remind myself, to do what you can to lead with kindness. This is the end of part 3. Again, please wait until the end of the series before making your opinion on the situation. In the final part, Jeffree Star speaks out, and James Charles updates his fans on the fate of his sister's tour. All that and more coming up in part 4.